Hey, I want to take some time today to address a small victory that we've won today in the state of Washington for gun rights. Now, I want to address the actual victory itself and the people that are responsible, and I want to address the NRA's claims that they actually won the day, because they didn't. But they've been very quick to capitalize on it. But first, let's talk about the initiative itself, Initiative 1639. Now, I didn't spend a lot of time talking about Initiative 1639 because I didn't think it would even be put on the ballot because it was such a flagrant disregard of the way initiatives are supposed to be done. I thought lawyers would toss it out and state officials would toss it out. Well, never underestimate how deeply in the pockets of people like Bill Gates and Bloomberg, etc., that the politicians in Washington state are, because they went right along with this, even knowing that it violated multiple state laws. They went ahead and certified it. Well, immediately after it was certified, there were lawsuits filed against it. And let me state one thing. This bill, the 1639, this bill provides to where you can't buy a rifle till you're 21 years old. If you store a gun in a way they don't see fit and it gets stolen from you, they penalize you. You're required to take a background check every year if you own a semi-automatic weapon. It's just a whole lot of things that were just really bad ideas. And the way they went about getting it on the ballot were really bad. This is that ballot initiative I talked about where they would put signs out that says no grocery tax and then have you sign a ballot initiative for 1639, which has nothing to do with grocery tax. And they actually made the ballot initiatives themselves, the type so small that you couldn't read what you were actually signing. You just thought you were signing a no grocery tax thing. And they didn't even present the law properly in the thing. If you've got a magnifying glass and read it, you would have not read what was really in the law. But like I said, our politicians are in the pockets of the ultra wealthy here. So, because this is not a Republican versus Democrat thing. Trust me. This is a ultra wealthy versus, it's a haves versus the have-nots thing. Because the haves don't want the have-nots to have guns. For very good reasons. So, this got approved and got put to where it was going to be on the ballot this year. And I know I'm rambling a little bit here, but there's so much to tell about this thing. It got approved. It was going to be on the ballot initiative. Well, a local leader of the Second Amendment Foundation, Alan, and I know I'm going to pronounce his last name wrong, Gottlieb, he filed suit immediately. After our Secretary of State said, yeah, this will be on the ballot, it's fine that it broke all these laws, he filed suit immediately. Well, he has won his lawsuit. And that means it's not going to be on the ballot. Now, this is probably going to go to the Supreme Court, so I don't want everybody saying, yay, a victory, and slapping each other on the back and going, it's over, because now it's probably going to go to the Supreme Court, so we still have to be ready to fight 1639 if we have to. But I also want to address, like I said, Alan Gottlieb is the person responsible for filing the lawsuit that won the day, and the Second Amendment Foundation. Now, other groups also helped, like the Oregon, I believe it's Oregon's Firearms Federation. I might be wrong about that. I just always have the logo on the stuff, never have the full spelling. But they're the ones that are responsible for this. They fought for this and they won. And I also want to talk about how disgusting the NRA is. And I know I've beaten that to death, but here's a perfect example. The NRA didn't get involved in his lawsuit, didn't help him with any of his stuff, didn't actually fight the fight. What they did is once it started to look like this was going to be won, after they'd seen all the stuff that Gottlieb and his crew had done, they said, yeah, this is probably going to be won when it goes to court. So they came in and filed another lawsuit on top of the one he filed, an identical lawsuit, just used another person's name that was a resident of Washington. By the way, that costs $80, if you want to know how much that costs the NRA to do that. Well, Gottlieb had his case go to trial, did the work, and won. And then, since the other lawsuit is identical, the same ruling applied to the NRA lawsuit. So the NRA is now like, yay, we won the lawsuit in Washington State. Thanks to the NRA, we beat this thing. That's bullshit. The NRA did nothing. They refused to get involved back when the fight was actually needing to be fought. They didn't get involved until they knew that for $80 they could get a blurb to use for fundraising. That's when they chose to get involved. So they are disgusting people. Cox, LaPierre, they are disgusting. And the bad thing about this, I wouldn't even talk about it if it didn't have a bad effect. Because what the effect it has, and I've seen this on my local gun forums where people are slapping the NRA on the back and going, boy, the NRA protected us again. We won this big victory. It's not a big victory. It's a small victory that hopefully will lead to something bigger. And the fact that you're thinking the NRA came in and protected us and they'll keep doing it, that puts you in a situation that the NRA wants you in. It makes you lazy and it makes you ignorant. Because you'll sit back and give the NRA money thinking they're going to protect you. And the NRA is not going to protect you. They didn't protect you this time. They won't protect you next time. The NRA doesn't spend its time or its money winning lawsuits where most of our victories have come from. Lawsuits against states. That's where most of our gun rights victories have come from. The NRA doesn't waste their money on that stuff. They will sometimes go in and put their name on it and then let the other groups do all the work because they want the credit. But the NRA spends their time just conspiring with politicians to slowly take your rights away in the most profitable way that they possibly can. That's what the NRA does. So, I mean, look at the 1968 Gun Control Act and all the way through. Every one of those bills has the NRA's fingerprints all over it. Not fighting them in court, not opposing them, not telling politicians, do not vote for this or we will let everyone know you voted for it. They find the way to do it in the most profitable way possible. To sell your rights for money. And in this case, they did nothing more than step in at the last minute and put their name on a lawsuit so they could claim victory. But they didn't win anything. Alan Gottlieb, the Second Amendment Foundation, off those groups, they won the day. And they're getting overshadowed by the NRA. The NRA sent out its press releases. We won, we did it. You didn't do shit. Except for step in at the last minute and try to get credit for something that you refused to take part of. Just like you refused to take part in the Young decision from Hawaii, who actually won his case recently because you didn't think he was going to win, so you didn't bother to get your name put on that one. I bet you will now that it's going to go on to the en banc hearing and everything. I bet you'll try to get your name on it before that. Or you probably won't because you'll probably think they'll overturn it. But I bet if it goes to the Supreme Court, you'll try to get your name on it. But the NRA did nothing. So I wanted to make sure today that people weren't slapping the NRA on the back because they did nothing except be the normal scoundrels and lowlifes that they normally are. The people who actually deserve the credit for this are Alan Gottlieb and those other organizations I mentioned, like the Second Amendment Foundation and off. So if you want to slap someone on the back, slap them on the back because they deserve it. If you want to look at the NRA and look how they refused to actually fight the fight, but they were more than willing to take the credit. Stop being lazy. Stop thinking the NRA is going to save you because they're not. I know it's easy to sit on a gun forum and congratulate the NRA and then sit back and think like, ooh, I've done something because I posted on a gun forum. You haven't. Be part of the fight and recognize the people that are actually fighting and stop falling for the bullshit that the NRA keeps feeding you.